I'm going to turn our program on.
Sounds glorious.
Look at all the hunky boys.
Not people, brains.
Stop your grinning and drop your linen. Found them.
Where's your pass?
Screw your pass.
Due to the recent events that have occurred, effective immediately, all classes are suspended until further notice.
Sup. You're listening to Students of Horror, where we don't claim to be authorities on the subject, but students of the genre, expanding our studies one movie at a time. I'll get it down. It's still a bit fresh for me.
Hey, you did great.
Thank you.
I was going to edit it so they would have never known.
Our assignment for this episode is 1973's The Wicker Man, as we study the subject of folk horror.
Ooh.
Thanks for everyone for coming to study with us this episode. We'll start every good episode as we do with a roll call. Starting with myself, I'm Sam. I am here because clearly that's true. I believe we heard from Ross. Ross, are you here?
Oh, hey, here.
Here. Excellent. Perfect. Present. And Brian, are you here?
Present.
Yeah. We did it.
We figured it out.
Hey, we
Look at us. 3 friends pretending to be students.
In school.
Having a good time being best friends.
Hey, I like to think it's, we want to talk about it like we're smart, but we're not really the professor. We're more like the students.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. If we called ourselves teachers of horror.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Well, before I continue, and we continue, I'm going to take this moment to thank our study buddies, our patrons. Your generous support keeps the club strong for only $3 a month. Want to support us in other ways? Subscribe, rate, review, comment, share the show, be a friend, tell a friend.
And join our Discord. It's free for everyone. Jump in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, with all club members present, the study buddies avowed, it's time to crack open the goo book and officially begin the study.
Give me that goo.
Yeah, it's time. We're starting with our log line. A Puritan police sergeant arrives in a Scottish island village in search of a missing girl who the pagan locals claim never existed. Taglines, we got quite a few. I'll go with
Some
the first
are better
one
than
here.
others. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So, from the writer of Frenzy and Sleuth, Anthony Schaffer's incredible occult thriller.
It's informative, but it's not really informative.
The residents of Summer Isle invited Sergeant Howie to their traditional May Day festival. He didn't expect to meet the Wicker Man.
Oh.
I don't care for that one. It's giving away way
it's
too
not,
much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's given away way too much. An island lost to unspeakable terrors of pagan rituals. Also given away too much.
Agreed.
Too much, yeah.
I feel
It's
like
like,
the
man.
whole thing's a mystery. What's going on here? What's with this weird little village?
I feel like this giving away too much continues because the next one is the 20th century never touched Summer Isle, where pagan fertility rites and blood sacrifice live on. Way too much.
Touchdown.
Now, do you guys? Okay, so I actually was thinking about this. Do you guys think it's because of when the movie was made? We're like, we got to clearly tell people what they're getting into before they actually sit down in the theater.
I think there's something to do with that a little bit. Not necessarily to let people I think there's something to that.
Could be. You'll simply never understand the true nature of sacrifice.
Okay, that one's
Trying to do a little my best Christopher Lee while I'm doing these.
that was pretty
perfect.
good. See, that one was I like that one because that one kind of like it still has a little bit of the mystery involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
An incredible occult thriller of pagan practices and fertility rites. That one's just like very like blatant. Like here's what
I like
it
the
is.
fact he goes,
Jeez Louise.
there's going to be boobs. And there's also going to
Eggs.
be violence. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Flesh to touch, flesh to burn. Don't keep the Wicker Man waiting. Still a bit give you away because you don't know until the very end why it's called the Wicker Man or what the Wicker Man is.
Yeah.
Right. And lastly, to bookend it, a totally corrupt shocker from the author of Sleuth and Frenzy.
At least it doesn't give anything away.
Corrupt
Yeah.
shocker.
None of these, like, I feel like we usually have one that I'm kind of like on board with, but I don't like a lot of them. Most of them. That's my take. Welcome to Brian's Hot Corner.
Hot corner. Hot takes, my bride. Yeah, I think there was the one that I was like, yeah, okay, at least it's not taking too much away.
You'll simply never understand the true nature of sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Yeah. I was like, out of all of them, and that's not even that great. But it's like, It's the less rotten egg of the rotten bunch.
Agreed. Movies are made by people. The people that made this movie are...
This movie was directed by Robin Hardy, and the screenplay was by Anthony Schaffer. Robin Hardy did like a sequel or spiritual sequel to this called The Wicker Tree in 2011. He didn't really actually do much as far as movie making. And then Anthony Schaffer was the writer. He's written like plays and mystery thrillers, but this is the only thing you would really call horror. Oh, also his brother, Peter Schaffer, his twin brother, is also a playwright who wrote Amadeus and what's the one where Harry Potter was naked and there was a horse?
Oh,
Equus.
That's it. Yep.
So fun little tidbit.
Really wish I saw that one. He's doing another Broadway thing now. That one I want to go see him on. But some of our key players in this film are Edward Woodward as Sergeant Howie. He doesn't have really not many well-known horror credits, but he was Tom Weaver in Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz has a lot of similarities to
certainly
this film. Then we got, of course, Christopher Lee as Lord Summerisle. Obviously, for horror, is most famous for his role as Dracula in the Hammer horror films. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, horror-wise, he was also in Sleepy Hollow and Gremlins 2. So there you go. And then outside of that, many, many other things, Lord of the Rings, etc.
Star Wars. Yeah. Heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Salento as Miss Rose. We also have Britt Eklund as Willow and Ingrid Pitt as the librarian.
That's right.
And I think Ingrid Pitt did a bunch of the Vampire Lovers. I don't know if there was, she did a handful of Hammer horror films too.
Okay.
She did some Hammer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We have Lindsay Kemp as Alder McGregor, Russell Waters as the Harbor Master, Irene Sunters as Mae Morrison, and Walter Carr as the Schoolmaster, and of course, many others.
Many others, but a lot of these, I don't think had huge credit list or really a lot of horror stuff.
Yeah, some of them weren't even actors. They were just people who lived in the village.
Oh my God. There was, I think it was the gardener. Yeah, Aubrey Morris was in Clockwork Orange.
Look at that. Thanks,
he's been in a few other ones. Yeah, which I always forget that he's in this movie until I see him with just in the garden going oh shit. That guy.
Oh, the
old gardener. Yeah.
Cemetery guy.
Yes. Which is referred to as the gardener.
Okay. Sure, because they plant trees in them.
Who is the horror forward?
Great question. Let's find out. Is this movie for beginners?
So I said sure.
Yeah. I would say, yes, it is for beginners. It is, I don't know. I think the biggest critique of this movie for a lot of people is that it's not there are horrific aspects to this, but some people I would argue that this isn't I feel like if you're going to get into folk horror, this may be you may want to adventure into other technical, quote unquote, more horrific horror films than The Wicker Man, and then trek back, I guess. But yeah, it would be good for a beginner.
Yeah, I think it could be, but I kind of agree. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for a beginner. I think if anything, it's almost because it's a little too I don't know if art house is the right word, but
it's trippy,
a little boring and strange. And it just might not, unless you're into movies and have found a taste for that kind of thing, you just might not enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. We kind of mentioned that it only touches into the horror realm because of a lot of ideas and themes and maybe towards the end of the movies and stuff. But Is there any other subgenre that it fits into besides like a thriller and mystery is what I thought.
Yeah, thriller, mystery, folk horror, almost like theological horror. Like religious horror.
I mean, there's some.
Yeah. That's a big aspect to it, religion and
so. Like the philosophical sense.
Philosophical horror. Philosophicals.
Precisely.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that does it. What is the best advice you can give someone before going into this movie? If somehow you don't know what it's all leading up to, I think that would be a great way to see it. But by the time I saw it, I pretty much knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say probably like go in as blind as possible into it. I think is going to be enjoyable. And I think also really have to clip note the fact that like if you're looking for like a splatterfest kind of like horror movie, this is not going to be that is Wicker Man is not that movie. You know what I mean? Like it deals with a lot of like horror aspects, but it's not like it's just not jump scares or anything like that. It's more kind of trippy, heady kind of pagan horror, you know?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and say now it's not for gorehounds based off what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Definitely agree with that. And to extending that, I don't have any huge trigger warnings, I guess. Unless you guys did. I mean, there's a few dead animals, and there is a frog that gets shoved in a mouth. So if but then it gets pulled out of a mouth, and it seems to be okay.
It seems to be fine.
Well, it's got a sore throat now.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm. That's why it was put in the girl's mouth.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of trigger warnings. I mean, like there is insinuation of child death, but like not even close to anything else that we've got. The lightest aspect of some of the other films we've covered. Yeah,
missing child,
certainly. Spoiler zone.
Wicker Man did it.
It was the Wicker Man the whole time. So, starting with IMDb behind the scenes, we'll go to our first one. Sir Christopher Lee said that he considers this to be one of his greatest roles ever. And I've seen that. I watched a bunch of special features. I have like the 4K steelbook from that Lionsgate did for the anniversary. And there's really old interviews and then interviews later in life. And this is truly one of his favorite roles, which is cool because I love him in this.
Oh, he's great in it.
Filmed in 1972 in Galloway, Scotland, and there was some controversy when Britt Ekland labeled it as the bleakest place on earth. The producers were forced to apologize to the locals.
Oh, boy. Sir Christopher Lee paid for his own press tour out of his own pocket, and he had every stop in the USA willing to interview him about the movie. According to a rumor, some farmers in Iowa were surprised to see him on live early morning public access shows.
That's kind of hilarious.
So he believed in it. He loved the role and he believed in it. Put his dollar down and got out there.
I love it.
Which is so cool.
I know he was always really ashamed of, or not shame. I guess he was embarrassed of the Hammer movies and Dracula and stuff and had been trying to get away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So this was a role that he helped kind of break him out of that. According to director Robin Hardy, while this movie was largely filmed in Scotland, the aerial shots from the plane arriving were filmed in South Africa because they didn't have the budget to glue blossoms to that many trees. So the reason why they had to glue blossoms to trees is another IMDb later, is that they filmed in like October and November or November and December instead of springtime. So none of the plants were blooming. So any shots where you see that, the production physically like glued blossoms to the trees.
That must have been so tedious.
Yeah.
Certainly. I think the actors had to suck on ice cubes or something so that
so that they wouldn't have, if their breath was showing, they would have to put ice in their mouth. Yeah.
Most of the Summer Isle residents are named after trees, flowers, and plants.
I like that.
And due to a very small budget, most of the cast, including Sir Christopher Lee, worked without pay. So not only did this man put his dollar down, he's like, I'm acting in it.
I'm just going to do this for free.
He's like, I'll pay you to be in it, basically.
He's like, I've wanted to lead a parade doing a fun little dance my entire life.
Now I have the opportunity to do so. I do also like the fact, I think it's in the record when he's going to the deaths and marriages room where he picks up like two, it's like Ronald or something like that. It was two older people. He goes, oh, Christian names. And then she just looks up and goes, yeah, they were really old.
Well, because it hasn't been that long. It's only been since like Christopher Lee's grandfather. Yeah.
Yeah. So like 2 generations.
Mm-hmm. It's not like it's remained there the whole time, which is kind of what you might expect.
Mm-hmm.
Britt Eklund was pregnant with her son, Nick Adler, while filming and would only agree to shoot her nude scenes from the waist up. She did not want her butt shown, so that the butt shots are like somebody else.
A butt double?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a butt double. And her voice, she's like Swiss or Swedish. Mm-hmm. I wish I knew exactly. But they didn't quite like her Scottish accent. So she was dubbed by an actress named Annie Ross.
Oh.
The creators of the film reportedly studied various books on paganism to ensure some authenticity to what was depicted. At the end, much of the ideas used in the film derived from The Golden Bough, 1890, by anthropologist James George Fraser. Fraser believed that old religions were fertility cults that revolved around the worship and periodic sacrifice of a sacred king, belief which is alluded to in this film's rituals.
Super cool. I love that it came from that it's like
historical
has a basis. Yeah. New York City police detectives screened the film as part of their investigation into the Son of Sam murders. This was due to the killer making reference to the wicked King Wicker in one of his letters, leading some to believe there was a connection between the film and the murders. I just think it's funny to see a bunch of cops watching this movie.
Yeah, they were just waiting for a talking dog.
Like, oh my God, boobs.
Although this movie is set from April 29th to May 1st, 1973, it was filmed in October and November 1972. Is this the thing we just said about the blossoms? Should we say?
Yeah, this is the thing about gluing the stuff, but there's a funny one. Edward Woodward admitted one of the memories of the filming that stuck out in his mind was watching the trees being brought back in on the back of truck, as he had never seen anything like it. Due to the limited budget, they couldn't glue unlimited blossoms on trees. The solution was that the trees that had just passed when driving during a scene were then moved in front of them so they could pass more trees.
Oh, like the yeah.
That's awesome.
According to Seamus Flannery in a subsequent documentary, director Robin Hardy surprised the cast by suddenly announcing midway through filming that they were making a musical.
They kind of are. It's one of those, it's kind of like Sinners is a musical. It's all songs within it and not like songs that break reality because you're singing about your life.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Screenwriter Anthony Shaffer wanted this movie to be a little more literate than the average horror movie. He specifically wanted a movie with a minimum of violence and gore. He was tired of seeing horror movies that relied almost entirely on viscera to be scary. The focus of this movie was crystallized when he finally hit upon the abstract concept of sacrifice.
The concept of the Wicker Man derives from a single sentence in the Commentari de Bello Gallico, Commentaries on the Gaelic War by Julius Caesar. He claimed that the Druids of the Gauls built effigies out of sticks and placed living men inside, then set them on fire to pay tribute to the gods. Caesar also claims that the men chosen were typically criminals or slaves. Modern historians have not been able to verify Caesar's account, and its veracity has been questioned.
I wonder how they do that, just by reading other people?
Be like, no one else says this.
Like, did anybody else comment on this?
Yeah, right. Well, it's like, it's weird because it's those like is it real? Is it made up? Or is it like one of those, I forget what president it was, but like they had the like part of the Amazonian river, like the Amazon River, where like they had like a bunch of piranha, which they kind of like put meat into, and like they look like they were like these ravenous things. And in actual reality, they had just blocked part of the river and starved those animals. So they made it look way more terrifying than it was. So they're like, oh, it's Julius Caesar. Let's set this up. let's do this and really freak them out. You know what I mean?
Very
Instead
theatrical.
of like, yes. Yeah. You're like, you have no idea historically if it's like theatrical or if it's like actually a real thing that happened.
Mm-hmm. This movie, there's a music and arts festival named after this movie, the Wicker Man Festival, that is held annually in the area where the movie was shot.
Cool.
Since 2004. At the end of the festival, a giant Wicker Man sculpture is burned as a sacrifice to the festival gods.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I know. I want to do that.
Julius Caesar was right.
Julius Caesar was right. I'm wearing that shirt to that event.
Hope they all get it.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's do this. Let's get into the movie. I'll do the quick recap here. The story follows Sergeant Neil Howie, a devout Christian police officer who travels to the remote Scottish island of Summer Isle to investigate the disappearance of a young girl, Rowan Morrison. Upon arrival, he is met with a wall of silence and strange behavior from the locals who claim the girl never existed. As Howie digs deeper, he discovers that the islanders have abandoned Christianity in favor of Celtic paganism, led by the charismatic Lord Summerisle. Howie is horrified by their open displays of sexuality and ancient rituals, which he views as blasphemous. The investigation becomes a battle of wills between Howie's rigid religious morality and the islanders' devotions to their crops and old gods. Howie eventually comes to believe that Rowan is still alive and is being held captive to be sacrificed in a desperate attempt to restore the island's failed harvests. Howie discovers that Rowan was merely a lure, the law-abiding outsider, a man who represents the law, has the power of the king, and has come of his own free will, is the intended sacrifice.
The fool virgin.
The last thing he was thinking as he burned in the Wicker Man was like, but I never had sex.
I didn't even know.
The movie concludes with the giant Wicker Man structure being set ablaze with Howie trapped inside, and the islanders are singing a happy song. The end.
Goddess of the orchard, god of the sun. Here's your dude. Yum, yum, yum.
All right, so let's get to the premise real quick. I think the premise is devout Christian police sergeant goes to the Scottish island to find a missing girl, only to discover that everybody in the village says the girl doesn't exist, and everything's a little strange.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Kinda?
Yeah. Honestly, I love the premise. This is one of those movies that like, it's so interesting because it's the how alien the village is in its rites and rituals, but also how parallel it is to certain aspects of Christianity. So like when they're especially with the talk,
because Christianity adopted stuff from paganism.
Absolutely. So like even like I love the premise because you have this cop he's doing his job, but he's also a devout Christian. So it's like all this stuff is like appalling him. But then when he tries to like call it out, it's basically thrown back in his face. You know what I mean? Like
well, that's because you're a Christian. We don't believe that.
We don't believe that. This is a Christian. Like this. One of my favorite sections is when they're the fire jump ritual. And they go, yeah, like wouldn't you want to be impregnated by a deity instead of like a fucking acne-ridden artisan or something like that? And he's like, no, that's terrible. Like, why would you teach that? He goes, wasn't your savior like mom impregnated by a ghost?
Wasn't he born of a virgin impregnated by a ghost?
Yeah, where I'm just it's like stuff like that where you're like, yeah. So it's just like this weird I think the entire premise is just like kind of showing a mirror to religion, but then also having this like weird alien landscape to kind of like traverse in.
Yeah, no, I think it works pretty well.
All right, so we got the opening of the movie. So I watched the final cut. Did you guys watch the final cut as well?
I assume so, if that's what was on Tubi.
I don't know. I watched my 4K.
We know your Steelbook. Steelbook?
Yeah.
Steelbook?
With the slipcase.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the final cut. I think it has
Okay.
the artwork of the Steelbook.
Oh, nice. So this cop, I don't even know if we know he's a cop yet. In church, he's reading from the Bible. He's taking the body and the blood of Christ, doing the whole Catholic thing. And then suddenly we're watching a seaplane flying somewhere. Wasn't about how, corn rigs and barley rigs and corn rigs are Bonnie. Seaplane lands and it's at a little village. Guy opens the plane. He's like, "Hey, get me a boat." And they're like, "No, thank you. We don't let strangers come here."
No, thank you. It's private property. Get out of here.
He's like, "Well, I'm a cop searching for a missing girl." They're like, I guess we'll let you on. Get a little evil eye dinghy to come out, bring him on board. It's all these old men standing around. He's like, "All right, I'm looking for this girl. Do any of you know her?" "Nope, I haven't seen her before. She's not of this island." "No." Gets all passed around. I would say that's like the opening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, it kind of just leads into obviously the giant mystery of like what's going on with the island. You know what I mean? I think it does create a really good pretense of how isolated everything is. Like if a cop has to literally fly a plane into this remote island, it really shows how isolated the cop is, especially in relation, because he's always like, in a lot of senses, especially in the beginning, like he's very ganged up on, as in like he's a sole person with a very moderate group of people around him. So like from Jump Street, you're like, oh, he's just a cosmonaut in a very strange place right now.
Certainly. No, it's a good setup in all that regards, because it gives you enough of that weird feeling, a mysterious feeling that it doesn't feel quite right. Like all these gentlemen could not know who this girl is. They kind of try to pass it off well enough that no, we've never seen her before. But there's something about that, that evil eye dinghy, which I believe was Eagle Eye Cherry's original name. Until he
and he changed it.
Yeah.
Evil Eye Dinghy.
Evil Eye Dinghy will be my Eagle Eye Cherry cover. It'll just be me and a guitar.
Yeah.
And you'll do it Eagle Eye Cherry songs in the style of like Wicker Man music,
Of like old folk
music. Yeah.
Folk music.
Scottish folk music. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that idea.
Save tonight.
For barley.
And I think part of the strangeness of this place is it's all very familiar with just slightly odd things, but also this movie is kind of amateurish or like almost feels handmade, and just that. So the whole style of it kind of throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, it's like
Just like the place does, the village.
Yeah, because almost some of the scenes almost feel like, I don't even want to say documentary, but just like it's very documentary-esque. You know, like some of the shots, and you feel like you're watching people and not actors when it comes, especially like the kids and stuff. You know,
because there's definitely a few shots, like in speaking to the filmmaking aspect of it, because the way it's shot does add this weird kind of realness, intimacy to it, because there's moments where the actors are literally like looking directly into the camera, almost as if like they recognize that it's there, like, as you would a documentary. So I think that was very cool, because also you get that, but then you also get some really beautiful, good looking shots of stuff, and it's really well, especially in that aspect.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially just like how they shot, like, I mean, just the Wicker Man in general. And some of those like captive shots of like the sun and just like, especially even the parade, honestly, it's like some of those, the sword scene was just so tight shot, claustrophobic, especially when the heads are like in between all the blades, that you're just like, ugh.
No, certainly. I agree. I think all of that played really well. And it has that beautiful thing about it that it's all in the daytime. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Samar so much, is that it's such a bright film and different.
I was thinking about that too, and I like that about this as well.
So it lets you see the beautiful aspect of like, because it has it is, I know it was referred to as one of the bleakest places in the world or whatever, but they do a great set decoration or whatever it is to make it look like it's
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Well, and Lord Summerisle's place is like a actual gardens. That's, you know,
oh, clearly
a public garden that people
like
would visit.
That's very welcomed.
Yeah.
I also feel
beautiful.
like in certain respects too, where like when you have a film in just broad daylight pretty much the entire time, it is kind of fun for as a horror like just enthusiast. Like most of horror movies happen in the dead of night. So when I watch a movie that's just all at daytime, it's more off-putting to me than a movie that's just all at nighttime. That makes you like, where it's like, oh, I don't, all right.
Well, I think it does it, and we'll talk about tropes in a minute, but it subverts that trope of dark horror.
Oh, for sure.
And this was 1973, so
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something that I enjoy about it as well. I mean, so many dark things we just covered. We were however many episodes ago now. Hereditary is such a
darkly lit movie. Yes.
Darkly lit
dark
film.
movie, dark. All of that as compared to the brightness of this, and we're going to probably keep mentioning Midsommar. But I think that's such a good technical thing we're saying, and subversion of a normal horror movie. That's why,
for sure.
You know, and the movie's folk horror, but going back to thinking about how it's made and how it's just got this weird quality to it. It almost has like this folksy homespun quality to the filmmaking.
Yes.
And then it's folk horror, so it's got this fun like blend, you know.
Oh yeah.
Makes it all feel authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything feels DIY, which is super cool.
So we've touched on it. There's lots of songs in this movie, lots of singing. I said that it was kind of like Sinners in that way, where there's a lot of songs within the movie that belong to the movie, where they make sense for the movie, but it's not, you know, a musical in the sense of traditional musicals where you just break out in song about whatever's happening. Paul Giovanni wrote the music for this movie. A huge part of this movie. What do you guys think? You like the music?
I do, in the sense that I think it's like you said, because it's such a part of what's going on and everything, it works really well in where it is. And it's fun and odd. and it just works and adds that sense of weirdness that you need to have like this kind of culty, like undertone, this weird vibe of the village, all that kind of stuff in there just plays well within it. Because when I was looking into this movie, I saw several places refer to it as like a horror musical type of thing. So that's when Ross brought it up. Yeah, specifically. So I was like, that's great. I totally see it. And when Sammy compared it to Sinners, I get that as well. It's such a part of it. I feel like if you're not on board, or if you really don't like that, it's going to diminish the movie quite a bit, probably.
Oh, 100%. I think the first time when I watched this, I didn't realize how much music was going to be in it and how much it was almost a musical. And I was like very on the fence about it, honestly. And then like with rewatches for me, I've really embraced the musical aspect of it. When you realize that the entire film that we're watching is like, it's a ritual from the second he lands till the Wicker Man. And the entire thing is like, he's being tested and he's being like, this whole thing is just one ginormous ritual from jump. And then if you see that, it's like, okay, so now there's like almost hymns that are happening in these rituals as this is playing out. So like the whole thing is way more like theatrical for the entire village when you start throwing these in to just at this guy. Yeah. I don't know, that like when that kind of clicked, I was like, God, I love this even more.
Yeah, I love the music in this movie. I've listened to it on its own, which is kind of fun. It's not something I listen to a ton, but I do like it. It sets a good mood, and I really like it within the movie. You know, I like our Corn Rigs and Barley Rigs song in the beginning. I like the Gently Johnny song. I like our sort of pub the landlord's daughter song.
Yes, like the limerick one. Yeah.
Yeah, the limerick one. Thank you. The song that she sings when she's like trying to cast a spell or do whatever to get Sergeant Howie over to her room when she's naked. I like every song in the movie. I would just think of another song and say that I like it. So we don't need to do that, but I'm here for it.
It worked for you. I'm glad to hear that. Was there anything in the movie that tugged on your suspenders though? I was trying to think about that, and not much, because I already knew a lot. This was my first time seeing this movie, by the way.
Oh, rad. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So, but I knew plenty.
A lot. Yeah.
Sure. You weren't
things. I wasn't going in blind or anything like that.
Right.
So I don't think anything necessarily tugged. I mean, when you look at it, what it's supposed to be, that all kind of worked for me. Maybe, I don't know. You guys might bring something up, but I don't see much.
No, I agree. I think honestly, like, my suspenders were firmly grafted on, just because, like, even with some of a little bit of the gore, I guess the gore, like, you know what I mean? When you have like the Hand of Glory and things like that, like, I'm used to a certain level of special effects from a 1970s movie. So like, even if it looks a little hokey, it doesn't bother me because of how dated the film is. You know what I mean? Like, everything,
the whole look of the movie,
the whole look of that is uniform.
Exactly.
So like, there's nothing glaring, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, those are it's almost like a different set of suspenders when you're watching an older film, like from the 70s, the 60s, you know, and back, where it's like, okay, I'm just thinking from the optics of like when the movie came out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
This movie is famous for its subversion of tropes, horror tropes specifically. Were there any tropes of subversion or subversions of tropes that stood out to you? One of the weird things for me is that I did come to it later as well. I didn't watch it till sometime after we started the podcast, but it's been a few years now. But is that just like the whole people or the whole group being the baddies of this like outsider has become a trope and has been done a ton, but it all comes from this.
Yeah, certainly. For sure. Like, and that was the thing. And I know it was trying to, on some aspect, it was certainly trying to subvert a lot of those things, being different from a lot of those Hammer movies it wanted to be. Right. So that's why it was so bright. It wasn't like a big bloody gore fest or anything like that.
Totally.
There's a lot different things on there, which I think, again, work very well. It's interesting to see how you would feel about that in that moment in time or in that era, because
I'm assuming this would have freaked a lot of people out, because they bring up like Britain at the time, like as a Christian nation, you know what I mean? Like there was like religion was very heavy during the time period. So like having a movie that's kind of in defiance of that would have been wild when that movie came out. You know what I mean? And I agree.
Yeah, I don't know how Christian necessarily it was, or if he was just a Christian guy, because like, I feel like today you could have a devout Christian cop say, you know, America is a Christian nation. And while, you know, that's partly true, it's not like everybody here is a devout Christian with an appetite for following God.
Sure. I think that's the clearest way you could say it.
Yeah. Crystal. No, and Brian, I think it's to your point too. Like, I really do like the fact that like in a lot of other horror movies, like there's a baddie, and in this one, it is a community of baddies. You know what I mean? As in, I guess we air quotes baddies, but like it's an entire civilization on a completely different like religious tip. You know what I mean? And also not in a way that's like cloak and dagger Satanists that we had seen in like, you know, like 60s and 70s films with like dark cloaks and robes and like, you know what I mean? Shit like that, right. Where like this is like a thriving community that just also happens to be pagans and kills for like it lures people.
Yeah, this charismatic leader that it among, you know, Britons was also a famous actor. So you're like seeing him do this other thing, which would have been weird on its own, and kind of off-putting, but charming at the same time.
Now, you mentioned, I mean, Christopher Lee is probably one of best characters in it, just because of how charismatic he is in this role. He's certainly one that sticks out to me. And our other big character would be our sergeant, which I guess he plays shitty Catholic cop really well.
Absolutely.
Like, because I'm like, you suck.
He's not a great dude.
He does suck. Well, and it's that devout strictness of his religion that I think pushes you further away from the character as the movie goes on. Mm-hmm. Until eventually, for me, by the end, I'm like, burn him. We need crops next year.
So you're a full cultist. I don't think I've made it that far. I'm like, yeah, the guy sucks, but he didn't deserve to die.
He didn't. Yeah, exactly. I don't think he necessarily deserved to be burned alive, but also at the same time, I think what's a really amazing dynamic is that all the things that he's repulsed by on a base surface, we're like, yeah, we just think that our spirits kind of go back to like the animals and the wind and the air and the things. And he's like, that's fucking gross. And like, you're just like, whoa, dude.
I love like knowing, especially on rewatches, knowing again how strict he is.
Yeah.
Just see him running into one thing after another, like the body limerick song, the landlord's daughter in the pub, and then going outside and there's like people having sex in the grass, like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And
that's their sex field. We after we have a couple of drinks, we go out in the field and have sex, all within about 5 feet of each other.
And go into the school and hearing the teacher like, all right, kids, what does the maypole represent?
A penis.
Alec, a penis.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell is this? It's, I don't know.
Oh yeah. He plays that role very well. That it's like ridiculous. I'm like, like when he rushes in there talking about how he's like, now I know why everyone's like this in this town. It's because you're teaching the children like this filth and all this nonsense.
You're fucking mad.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Calm down.
And like what I find really fun too is that like his faith is tested. And like they kind of bring up a lot of different facts of just like, well, you believe in this, we just believe in this, and it's kind of like similar but different. You know what I mean? Like there's like such weird, like I don't even know if they're intentional Easter. I mean, there might be intentional Easter eggs, but like when he goes to the graveyard or the churchyard or whatever, you know what I mean? Like he's and then like he sees the sacrificial produce that's there that's on kind of the altar, and he slaps it away.
Right?
Yeah, apples. Yeah.
Which she was upset about, I think, too, because he asked for an apple earlier.
They didn't have any.
They didn't have any.
It's because they were using it for this crap.
What the fuck? But like in the background, you literally have like a woman breastfeeding a baby, like a la like Virgin Mary,
holding an egg in one hand.
Yeah, like there's so many paintings of the Virgin Mary breastfeeding the Christ child with like eggs and things like that, where like he's literally walking through like early Christian like imagery and he's still fucking repulsed, and like it's just
okay, so there's religious Easter eggs, like Catholic Easter eggs is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He walks past that to this pagan thing of like these crops were left here as part of the ritual, as left to the gods, and he knocks them all off and uses a box to make a handmade cross and leave it there instead. It's also very Christian.
Fuck you. I hope nobody ever. If I ever have a grave, someone comes along and just wipes off all the pagan shit that's on it.
I want the protected by the ejaculate of snakes.
Yes, thank you. I was just going to bring that up.
That first fucking, like, I want to just paint that fucking gravestone. Because, like, first off, it's metal as hell. And then just literally to have it engraved, I'm protected by the ejaculate of snakes, is the most amazing.
Do you think that's a full coating? How much do you think that costs?
Double dipped. I want to be double dipped.
That seems expensive to get all that snake.
Well, you got to find the right snakes.
Yeah. Is it just like any snake? Well, any snake will do.
Any snake will do.
Is it a certain snake? It's important to know. I mean, what if you're covering yourself in the wrong snake?
Plissken.
Hey, listeners at home, what kind of snake would you want to be?
Snake Plissken.
Snake Plissken.
That's great. Shit. I love it. Any other characters? Because I mean, the world is certainly full
I mean, they
of
all
them.
kind of stand out. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
I honestly,
the
I like
landlord's daughter.
I like the gardener.
landlord.
The landlord's great. I like the gardener just because like the second he pops open that casket and he just like he just starts laughing at the
March hare.
Oh my
Transmutation.
God. He's like literally one of the only dudes that's like basically like just mocking him openly, where he's like,
yeah, he seems to be telling him everything.
It's like, hey, that's the navel of the child skin. That's who else's would it be?
Who else?
Yeah. Does any dialogue stand out to you?
I mean, we've already kind of like rehashed it. I think I think like just the theological ping pong back and forth between the Lord and the cop is, I think, amazing. You know what I mean?
You may think my stuff is crazy, but think about what you're saying with your stuff.
Yeah,
also crazy.
Well, I think there's some really interesting points too, because like you'll have like I think it's either the beginning or I think it's cut into the film at a certain point where like there's the communion scene, like eat flesh of my flesh, drink my blood. The
beginning, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you also have like the Christians have rites and rituals of like fake sacrificial cannibalism and drinking of blood. So it's like it's just what level of devoting yourself to, you know what I mean? Like you're going to. Which I find just that kind of back and forth. You know what I mean? I really think that, just wild.
Yeah, I remember I grew up Catholic, going to Catholic mass, being like all that kind of nonsense. Definitely remember, that the rituals are on par with like the rituals and stuff like this. Culty and taking a Christ cookie, and I never had any of the blood.
They say this and you say this, and it's like call and response.
Yes, you say this and you say this. And it's like you literally walk up and they would like, they have their grand chalice that's full of the communion, the little Christ wafers, and they like pull one out and they like the body of Christ. And there's some people there, like like older people a lot of the time don't want to touch it with their hands. So they just stick out their tongues in their mouth and the priest puts it right on there because they can eat Christ, but they can't touch him. And then sometimes they'll have, and then there was like another chalice filled with wine or whatever, and everyone would just drink out of it, and then they just lightly wipe it, and then they drink with the next person, and just a little light wiping.
The blood is life.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, and I think also too. All right. So I'm thinking in this whole thing too is that like the parallels between the paganism and the Christianity, literally the only main big difference obviously is the human sacrifice. But this is the first time that the island has done this, because they've said in dialogue, this is the only time the crops have failed this bad since the guy's grandfather had come to the island. So in turn, I feel like this is the first actual human sacrifice that they've done on the island, shy of like animals and other things. Where like
I would agree.
He's like, you guys are bad. He goes, well, I mean, it's got to work because like you're here and we lured you all the way here. So hopefully
they're like, we're not evil. This is just what we believe in.
Yes.
Do what you got to do.
Which I think is like, wasn't that the wasn't that the moniker of the Crusades? We're not evil. We just believe in this.
Oh, yes, pretty much. That's religion.
That's what I was getting at with when he knocked the pagan stuff out to make the cross. Same thing. Did anything surprise you? I mean, it's hard because I feel like it's so, I mean, even for me, I was so already kind of known without having seen it. It's just in the ether.
For a first time watch, I definitely was surprised with how much music there is in it and actually how much nudity there was. I was not expecting singing,
the nudity
dancing,
naked,
me the first
time
like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like a gyration scene. But I also thought it was tastefully done too, because like because you have the main nude scenes, but then when they're supposed to be like the young girls in the bonfire, they're all in like leotards with like that just implies nudity. You know what I mean? Like I appreciated the fact like you actually like they didn't like cross any of those weird barriers. Where they're like, okay, the adults get.
Well, naked. It's funny too because I think the first exposure to the nudity is the field sex scene, if I remember right.
I think so. Yeah.
It's the first taste I got of it. I was like, oh, so that did surprise me. Feels weird to be watching this at work.
You have to turn around like, don't worry, it's from the 70s.
Check your shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, right. Do you think about the Wicker Man scare you? I don't think this movie really has any jump scares that I could recall.
No.
And
No,
the
I
only
could see.
I could see like him opening his eyes to the hand of glory being like a jump, like a ba-ba, but like it's not, there's nothing really in this that's like intentionally jump scary.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the only thing that could be scary is the end once you see the hand of glory, and then from then on with everybody in their masks in the march and the head thing where they stick their heads in the swords and stuff. I could see, you know, if you don't watch much horror or you're a kid, that all that stuff could be like creepy and you're just nervous too. It like builds up a nervous energy.
if you're a normie, you would definitely be freaked out.
I think so.
It's time for the gore. Fatality.
0?
Well, we get a severed hand, a bloody nub,
yeah,
a bloody rabbit.
Yeah. Okay, then.
And then, like, we don't even get burns on Howie at the end of the movie, right? It's just mostly
he just gets covered in smoke, more or less, and then
oh man,
So intensity.
If I was going to give anything to intensity, 0.25.
Yeah. Honestly, for the gore meter, I was going to give the whole thing maybe like a point.
I can give it a 0.25.
Yeah.
Just to give it something. And consistency, if anything, it would have to be like either a 0 or a 0.25.
I give
it has to be a 0.25 because there's nothing.
So 0.5, I think, is pretty adequate.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah. And do you, Ross, the famous lover of more gore, would you add more to this movie?
I honestly wouldn't, man. I don't think it needs it. And if you were going to add it, I would just make the Wicker Man burning sequence like just fucking gnarly. Like if you're gonna like have a gore to it, like have it build up to the Wicker Man and then like go fucking ham. You know what I mean? Because if you're already, like you said, from the Hand of Glory on, it gets like trippy and weird and musical, and like if you're like, what the fuck? Like it would be crazy to end it on just like a fucking like prosthetics of burns and boils and just, you know, that kind of shit would just be fucking wild.
And that reminds me, we didn't talk about, it's crazy to end it the way it does now without that. That's another inverted trope, is that our hero, who we've been watching this whole time, dies and gets burned to death.
Yeah,
like,
while everyone is just dancing.
Set on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I don't think it does need it. If you were, you go kind of ham at the end, which brings us to our climax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it needs anything. So Howie tries to escape in his seaplane. He can't get out, so now he's going to he goes back. He goes through the town. No, he goes through the town to try and find Rowan. Mm-hmm. That's where we get some of that weird documentary seeming stuff, because it's like they're looking at him telling them what they're doing and being interviewed, but it's just looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And so then he is like, I'm going to go back to the inn, take a nap. He overhears a conversation between the landlord and the landlord's daughter, which they are only 4 years apart, by the way, the actors.
Oh, wow.
So,
had a
poor
daughter
guy.
at 4.
Pagan's gonna pagan.
He overhears her conversation about how she's going to burn the Hand of Glory to keep the sergeant asleep while they do their May Day festival. She goes to run off, and the landlord is going to get changed into the punch costume, the dummy costume, because there's a horse, and the leader of the community dresses as a woman, and this idiot character, the fool.
I do also, just for a second, I do love the fact that it took me like 2 or 3 times watching this movie to realize the Hand of Glory came from the dead body that we see in the coffin when he flips it open, because that's the nub. Yeah. I was like, oh, there it came from. Yeah.
Nubbed up.
Yeah.
So he's joined the procession.
Oh, so she leaves. He knocks out the landlord, takes the punch costume, joins the procession. Christopher Lee is fucking dancing, and I just love his moves so much, with his legs kicking up and twirling around in a circle in a little touchdown formation with his arms up. It's I love it. I would cosplay as that.
Hell yeah.
I actually want to get without the face paint and everything, just the yellow turtleneck and jacket and pants and like boat shoes.
Ooh,
good look. So they're doing their procession. They get to like a little henge area where they cross the swords and heads dip in and out. It's a game of chance. He grabs is like, "Hey McGregor, don't have to do this," which is the sergeant dressed as the fool. He goes in, he's okay. Then they cut off somebody's head when they go in, but it was just like a costume. Everybody's fine. All right. To the beach. They go to the beach. There's some barrels. They give them to the gods of the sea, chop them up with some axes, roll them down. Now it's time for the sacrifice. And there appears Rowan, the missing girl who Sergeant Howie's been after this whole time. And he takes off running, still in his punch costume, wearing the punch mask. And he gets up there and punches a guy and is like, "I'm here to rescue Rowan." So they run into the cave, pop out of a hole on top of the cave. And there's Lord Summerisle waiting, and this school teacher and a friend and a few people from the village. And Rowan says, "Did I do good?" And Christopher Lee says, "Yes." And they run and embrace. And this is when it was revealed from the very beginning. This was all set up. He was for Sergeant Howie to come and be their sacrifice of his own free will. They told him they wanted the Christian, they wanted the devout, they wanted the virgin, they wanted a guy who would stay. And they were all of these like sexy time things around him, trying to break him, or just to make sure he was like a really good sacrifice.
The whole thing was a test.
Yeah, it was all a setup. It was all a game. And so they prepare him for sacrifice. Well, he yells about how they're heathens. They wash him down, put some yellow paint on his nipples and his forehead. And then they march him up to the Wicker Man, which if he's yelling, "Oh God, Jesus Christ," does that not count as blasphemy here? Because it's not in vain. He's like really calling for that.
I think he's calling out.
He's legitimately calling out to Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So he gets away with it. Gets in, does a bunch of prayer as he's about to burn, and the village is arm in arm, swaying back and forth, singing a song about spring. And then we see the burning head of the Wicker Man fall back with the sunset behind it. And then our sunset is the final shot as the credits roll.
Sure is. Good climax. I mean, that's what it all builds up to. That's what it's all for.
That's what it's all about.
This moment right here. Like you said, to kill
Agreed, and it all comes together.
Main character at the end is different and great. Good job.
Well, I do really enjoy, like, once you realize the whole thing was a ritual and was a test for him to, of his own free will and accord, get to the Wicker Man. It kind of like validates how weird and how obtuse some of the villagers were. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, so like they're like everybody was fucking with him. So now it's like, because when you start watching, you're like, this is weird. Like, why are they doing, like, I understand this, but I don't understand this. And then like when you finally get to it, you're like, oh, these, like the whole village was just fucking with him the entire time. And you're just like, oh God.
Imagine trying to get a whole village to come together to act like that. Like,
yeah.
Well, they're all
must be so hard to get everyone on
board.
That's
must be
why
all
everyone's
pretty part of this religion. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But like, we know people who aren't good actors, so maybe those are the ones that are just like giggling and acting weird in the back. They're like, we got to put Randy.
Sure.
Randy will not be able to sell this. He's going to give it away. So we got to put him. He'll just be one of the ones banging in the field.
Yes.
But I get what you're saying, Ross. The strangeness of the people that he encounters they're playing a character when he encounters them, so they could just, maybe they aren't very good actors, and that's why they're acting so strange.
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, that's why they're weird.
I thought that
they're
for
actually
the
quite normal.
Landlord, my last watch, and I was like, yeah, he's totally just being this weird guy for Howie.
It's like, well, yeah, some of them are probably like, I'm going to put on a character.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of another trope that I don't know if this is the first time, but it's the earliest example I've seen of somebody walking into a pub and everybody stops talking and looks at them.
Oh, yeah. I feel like
that happens to him when he gets there.
Yeah.
The Green Man Inn, which that sign is awesome.
That's a good one.
Face of the Green Man on there. Super cool.
It's a good sign. I like that sign.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's the sign she sang about that she saw?
Could be.
In Ace of Base.
Oh.
I saw the sign.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
If it's not, now it is.
She opened up her eyes and saw it. So before we get to our extra credit questions, what did we learn about folk horror? Our subject.
Folks are crazy.
Don't mess with it unless you want to join it.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a good point. I think that's beautifully put.
Yeah. No notes.
Perfect. Extra credit questions for this episode. How would we survive / how many are sacrificed? So the students of horror have gone to, I think we'd be fine. We'd have to be tricked into going there. If we just go to visit, they wouldn't even let us on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, presumably. Let's say we we were out party. We were on the
crashes.
I was gonna say, or that, yeah, we were on, I was gonna say, the student boat. And the boat kind of crashed or something, and there was a reason that we kind of had to crash up on shore there. And they were I feel like in that instance they would take us in to
sure
try to help us, but then I think they might just help us. I don't know if they're gonna,
honestly.
Right, exactly.
I think they would probably help us, because if they asked us questions like, so what about your faith, and are you guys virgins, and like what's going on with all that, and they'd probably ask us 3 questions, be like, this would never work. Ever. I feel like our crops would get worse if we killed these guys.
Yeah, and they've only had 1 year of bad harvest, so as long as it seems like most years we'd be okay. They wouldn't need to sacrifice anyone anyway.
Right. They're like, we got this cop coming. Let's just stick with that plan. We'll let these guys. Right. Maybe they'll want to join us.
Only issue would be if we had a sore throat, they might tell us to put a frog in our mouth.
I would like to imagine that we do end up joining the cult.
Mm-hmm.
And then this plot goes on, and then we're at the end of the movie like, wait, we're doing what now? We just thought we were having a fun time. Like,
I don't know that I'm like a true believer like that. I thought it was more metaphorical.
Just go with it.
I don't know, man. Oh, that's fun.
Okay, hero level. Sergeant Howie would be the hero for this film.
Certainly.
Tenacity. He's pretty tenacious. I mean, he decides to stay, really wants to find out what's happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to search every home on the island, going to search some big ass sailboat. Doesn't go to Lord Swimmer Isles. It doesn't appear to check there. But
no, I agree. He is pretty tenacious in that aspect. He seems pretty devoted to his mission of finding this girl.
Yes.
And works through a lot of struggles to get there. It's ultimately because he is tricked, more or less. Not more or less. He is tricked and then kind of caught off guard is what really gets him.
Thinking of the characters in the movie acting, when he does pick up the candelabra or something and knocks out the landlord to get his costume, he just hits him on the back, and the landlord falls down with his eyes rolling back into his head against the wall.
I thought he killed him the first time. I was like, whoa, no.
Well, so now thinking of them as actors, though, he's just all right, I gotta let him take control of me and take my costume. Yeah, so is it just one bonk in the middle of the hump on his back? He's like, wah.
That is something I was thinking about. Yeah, that scene in general, what was the plan there at that point? Because did they know he was listening for him to?
I think that is what is supposed to be intended. Yeah.
That's some pretty good forethought there.
And it might actually be, that might have been cut. There's Summer Isle had a longer speech of, we set all this up and, the seaplane, we're going to sink that. And like he tied up a lot of loose ends, so to speak. And
they had all their bases covered.
Yeah. Robin Hardy was like, let's get rid of that. So
no, it's like, not important, but you just got to kind of, hope that he's going to come and knock me out and take this costume and go that route.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tenacity, what? 3?
That's exactly what I was thinking, Brian.
Yep.
Same. Love it. Love to think the same things as you. And iconography, I'm going to go it's not the lowest we've had because that
is he in the Wicker Man?
I mean, it's like you'd have to have him in the police outfit
or the full costume.
the full like half and half or something. There's something there that's doable, but it's still.
There's enough costumes that he could interchange in between a few of them.
2?
Yeah, I was thinking at most.
5.
Yeah, 2 at most.
2. Let's do 2.
And that gives him a 5, which does feel kind of high, but that's how the cookie crumbles right now.
Sure. So villain level 1 through 10. Villain is the cult.
I think it has to be because
or the whole village.
The village, whatever. The cult, they are.
Power level, they are just humans, but their power is in numbers,
in manipulation, and
and also like to orchestrate that entire thing to make him feel like he had the choice of doing so is like
the prep work.
The prep work alone.
Imagine the meetings, the late nights beforehand.
Yes, dude.
Imagine them all being very studious and they all have character sheets.
What if he doesn't knock me out?
Yeah.
What if he's actually sleeping up there?
What if he takes a nap? Do we just hold off?
What if he actually falls asleep, and is just out for 3 hours? What do we do?
What small child smacks him in the face, runs away.
Right? Send in the child. That'd probably work. Exactly. I'm sure they had contingency plans in place. But their power level is, ultimately, if a couple people with some guns probably came to the island.
Right. Yeah. Mainland police force shows up, they're in trouble.
Exactly. But against one man, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. 3?
Yeah, I give him a 3.
I was thinking 3 as well. Yep. And then iconography. So I feel like both Christopher Lee's looks in this movie are the 2 main ones, not the kilted one so much.
Sure.
But when he's wearing the wig and the face paint and the dress.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The yellow turtleneck and jacket and pants that he's wearing under that, essentially.
For sure.
I would recognize those right away as being from this movie. I would include the Wicker Man itself in the iconography for the village.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Which is that's one of those iconographies that it crosses over outside of just horror people.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like my mom would probably know what the Wicker Man is.
Yeah.
Brian's holding up 4 fingers.
I would absolutely give it a 4.
I can agree with that.
If we're including the actual Wicker Man, absolutely.
That gives it a 7 for its total, which the cult does defeat the Sergeant Howie.
It's true.
7 beats 5. Works every time.
At least
75% of the time.
Love it. So should this movie have a sequel, and what would your sequel be? I don't think it needs a sequel. Maybe some sort of Wicker Tree. Hey, but a sequel would be, you could have a follow-up of what if the Wicker Man 2, more Wicker, more men, is the crops still fail. So they're like, we need to get a lot of people out here. And then that's where we get our bloodbath of them just sacrificing a party boat of men. It takes place in 2007. It's like a college party boat that they need to lure in.
Nice.
Yes.
And
I got 2 sequels.
Okay.
One is Sergeant Howie is now a ghost, and like wreaking havoc and scaring the people of Summer Isle. And the big reveal at the end is that it's been the Sergeant Howie ghost messing everything up this whole time. And then the other one is the actor Edward Woodward, I think is his name, that played Sergeant Howie, returns to the island, and it's his brother who's also a cop coming to investigate the disappearance of his twin brother.
Oh, wow.
I smell a trilogy. My twin brothers have gone missing. And then 20 years later, they make the show, the series, the limited series, and it just continues. It almost becomes, what if it almost becomes a Doctor Who thing? Where like every year.
Oh, sure.
Every year.
They just continue it forever. There's a new sergeant. I don't know. I like it though.
Yeah, I dig
Twins.
that.
Twins, Basil.
I know I say it a lot. I would
Austin Powers.
really like to have like maybe not a prequel, but I would love to see the grandfather getting there, and then like the mass exodus of all Christians and priests and stuff. As in, like they kind of glazed over it, but like if it was like that's where you kind of get your gore, because it could be like literally like they exiled the Christians off, which basically means they murdered all of them.
Good point.
Exiled. What? Axiled.
What
prop should we have for the study hall from this one?
Oh, the Hand of Glory.
The Wicker Man?
I mean, we could do the entire Wicker Man. I was thinking the Hand of Glory because at least when we're studying late at night, we could light it.
Yeah.
We could throw the Wicker Man in the gymnasium. Let's say we have a whole school to like take over.
Ooh, okay.
Sure.
Like that's what we're
well, the Wicker
here.
Man will be like a statue in the courtyard area.
Why wouldn't it just be in the track and field?
Could. I like the idea of it being inside.
Inside though? Yeah, that'd be really good. Honestly, I would love one of the villagers' masks at the end. Like the animal masks are just so off-putting, but also so handmade and just God, they just ooze folk horror. Like just having one of those on the wall would be wild.
Yeah, I want
a couple of them.
Yes.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
I want a mannequin wearing Christopher Lee's like dress get up at the end, holding the scythe and
I'd like the hair goblet that has all the hair, like the embossed like March hairs around it. That was a really fun goblet.
Do you want
I'll take the key to his hotel room.
Oh yeah, very good.
Yeah, there you go.
Doesn't take up too much space.
Right there on the wall. It's my Wicker Man key.
All right, we're going to see a midnight showing. What are we throwing? Fire,
boobs,
guitars,
wicker,
barley.
Oh, barley's good.
Yeah, handfuls of barley.
Yeah, just any wicker you might have.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be a man.
Just like a big wicker chair. Oh my God. See, that'd be so much fun. At the end of the movie, everyone's throwing wicker. Everyone's ripping apart their wicker chairs at the end of the movie and just throwing it at the screen. And then you take that outside and build a burning man, a wicker man, and burn it.
I think that's great.
Or inside the theater. I don't care.
Or inside the theater. Just
when Christopher Lee tells him, he's like, your God is dead. Let's face it, he had his time, and in common parlance, he blew it. And how he stands up and it like zooms in on his face. He goes, "What?" I want everybody to yell, "I said your God is dead." Yeah, and do the whole
he's
the
dead.
whole thing over. Perfect.
That's beautiful. And what would be the concession vessel for the Wicker Man? The Wicker Man itself, obviously, is a good entrapment.
I mean, I would have like a Wicker Man container. It would probably have to have like roasted peanuts or something. Like it'd have to be something roasted inside to kind of keep that Burning Man aesthetic.
Or flaming hot Cheetos or something.
Ooh, that's good.
Can I get the flaming hot Cheeto Wicker Man, please?
It wouldn't be a concession vehicle so much as just a special concession item for the film. chocolate March hare would be
Ooh,
nice.
that'd be really good.
Perfect.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all, cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's bacon.
Show them.
On this show, we use a grading scale of 0 to 5 points. Each point represents a different quality about a movie. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about the movie. It does not matter if the movie is objectively good or bad. So, let's do it to it. I'm going to pass this one off to Ross, my main boss.
Oh, hey. All right. Engaging. Engaging, I'm going to give a 1. Even after countless watches, I think it's trippy enough, it's loose enough that it's just I'm very engaged every time I'm watching it. Sticky, I'm probably going to give... Ooh, man. I'm probably going to give Sticky... I was fighting between a 0.5 and a 0.75. I'm going to give it the 0.75. There's a lot of this movie I do remember, but there was also a lot of dialogue back and forth, and it kind of just, it's a lot of I don't know, there's certain scenes, there's key scenes I remember, but then the filler ones I'm not, sometimes I'm a little loose on. So Stuffable is a big one, huge one. Wicked,
Huge one.
A wicker girthy one. I mean, I own a book about the making of Wicker Man. So this is just so good. Cockles is going to get the full 1 for me. I'd this movie. It's weird because this is one of those movies where my Cockles originally, when I first saw this film, was 0.5, almost fleeting at a 0.5 cold. And then on rewatches, and then what we were talking about, how we realized the whole thing is a ritual, and having the music kind of interwoven into this, it made more sense to me watching it a second time through, realizing what's going on. That God, it's just so good. I don't know, it hits all the toes, especially for folk horror. You know what I mean? Where because this is it's also just a very weird wrapped theological discussion, which I think is also just intellectually stimulating for me. So I like it a lot. Rewatchable. I think rewatchable is probably going to get a 0.75. I would recommend this movie, but also it's not, to me now I have to be kind of in a mood to watch Wicker Man because it is weird. It is it's there's music involved and it's very trippy and weird. And there's not a lot of horror stuff until basically the end of the movie. So it's kind of went from I got real hot to trot on Wicker Man and I kind of had to cool my jets a little bit. You know what I mean? Still love it. So yeah.
That gives you a 4.5 out of 5. How does that feel?
That does feel good. You know what I mean? I think that,
Nice. Yeah. 4.5 exists for a reason. And based on everything you said about it, it sounds right to me.
Yeah. I think I'm very happy with a 4.5. Wicker Man, hands down, is in probably my top 20 favorite movies of all time. So for me,
wow.
Oh yeah, I love this movie. So I think I'm very happy with a 4.5.
Tight. Brian, I'd like to go to you next as a newcomer to the film.
Engaging, I'll give a 1. What helps is that it is a cool 130 on it, so it doesn't look it's an easy watch in that sense.
Runtime. Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to short runtime.
Sticky, that's going to be hard. Have been thinking about this a little bit since watching it, and it's grown on me since the initial watch and everything too. But I don't know if I necessarily remember. It's a weird in-between zone, so I will give it the 0.75. Stuffable, I'll also give it probably a 0.75 as well. There's plenty of stuff out there for it. There's some stuff I probably would like to have. Not that I wouldn't. I think a lot of the imagery is very cool, but I don't see myself rushing to grab any at this moment. Cockles, I'll give a 0.75 as well. It hits on a lot of the things that I like about a lot of horror movies now, or some horror movies now, in that folk aspect. Yeah. It was, since it's the originator of things, I think it didn't quite perfect it yet, but it hit a lot of things really, really well. And it made me feel cool about it. So 0.75 for Cockles. And rewatchable, we'll give it let's do the 0.75. That way it kicks it to a 4, which I think is an appropriate total for the Wicker Man.
Nice. All right. Bouncing to me. Engaging is an interesting one because I really like this. There's a lot to look for, and it's just it is engaging, but at the same time, I find it so sort of soothing that I've fallen asleep watching this movie many times.
In the nude?
Well, I'll try that. But so I think because of the the soothing sleep factor, even though it's one of the things I like about the movie, how it's got this sort of warmth, comfort to it as well, and the oddness, all that. But anyway, I'm going to give it a 0.75 because of how many times I've fallen asleep to this movie.
Understandable.
Sticky. I'm going to give a full 1 for, actually. There are certainly scenes, bits here and there that I forget, but it's more about how much it has stuck with me and how certain parts I have thought of many times, and especially the character of Lord Summerisle and his look and the way he carries himself. His riz has really stuck with me. So 1 there. Stuffable is also going to be 1. You may have heard I have the 4K Steelbook slipcase that Lionsgate put out for the anniversary.
Oh.
I would love to have a cool shirt for it. I mentioned I would like to potentially cosplay as Lord Summerisle. So, yeah, definitely a 1 there.
Nice.
Cockles is also going to get the 1 because, like I said, it's got this strange sort of warmth, soothing thing. It's got a lot of the day folk horror that I know Brian and I have both mentioned that we like. It's strange. It's sort of weird and wonderful. So yeah, it just does it for me in that sense. So 1 for Cockles. And then rewatchable, I'm going to give a 0.75 because even though I feel like I could almost put this on anytime, I do agree with Ross that it actually would be more of like when the mood strikes. Like, you know what? I just want to kind of get a warm blanket and put on the Wicker Man.
Yeah, exactly.
And 4.5 feels good to me. 4.5s exist for a reason, and this feels like a movie that should be that. I should give that score. It's not quite a 5, but it's certainly more than a 4. So what's in between that? 4.5. Okay. We did the scores. Should we see what our study buddies have to say?
Sure.
We should.
Well, first contributor here, we got Kate. Kate says, this movie makes me uneasy the same way that Midsommar did. I always say Midsummer, but you guys say Midsommar, and I never know what to do.
Well, so it's funny. I was thinking about that because it was mentioned a bit on Hereditary, I think.
I'm sure, yeah. That makes sense.
And I was editing that one, and I was listening, and I was noticing myself saying Midsommar. And I remember on our Midsommar episode, we had this conversation as well. And at that point, I was like, yeah, Midsummer. That's just what I say. I don't know when I made that evolution. Probably when I've owned like everything Midsommar that there is coming out.
Sure.
That it just started evolving that. So you call it what you like.
Okay.
But it does irk me.
But it does irk me.
Okay, we'll start over for Kate. The movie makes me uneasy the same way that Midsummer did. The songs are pretty groovy though. But culty stuff creeps me out a lot, and the ending is nightmare fuel. I think this deserves a 3.5 out of 5. That's another thing. I also have cockles for culty stuff. I just generally, it usually works for me, and
yeah,
it does here.
I know you mentioned that before. I figured that was the case for this. Cool. T-Boo says, Christopher Lee, full core. It's awesome. Thanks, T-Boo.
That's right.
That's it. Right.
Thanks, T-Boo. Yep. So, Sore Thumb Collector, who's in our Discord. I don't know Sore Thumb Collector's real name. I just realized I don't think. But he said this movie felt like a dream and not a particularly scary one. It was interesting enough, but with how much praise this movie gets, I was a bit let down. I didn't feel any sort of dread or real suspense. I liked it, but it was more of a mystery film than it was a horror film. 3 out of 5.
Valid.
That's good. And I think that goes back to like
I totally get it.
Maybe it would be good for a beginner, maybe not, because you're not necessarily getting a lot of that horror
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're coming for horror.
Also, kind of compounded on that is that when people say like, "Hey, man, The Wicker Man's like one of my favorite horror movies," like I think sometimes the idea of what we think a horror movie is versus what this movie is, I think we're expecting like body counts and you know what I mean? Where it's like I feel it's going to deflate the balloon. The hype might be a little too much, you know?
Or just any level of traditional horror tropes, horror stuff. I think.
And another thing for this one, it gets really hyped up, and then so many other movies have done stuff from this movie that you've seen since. So none of it's necessarily engaging or original. It's just all stuff you've seen before.
Right.
So I can see how that wouldn't really do it for you either.
Sure. Well, it sits in good company with the students over here. We have a 4.3 on that average.
Nice. Wow.
Other notable 4.3s include The Blob, The Sadness. Wow. From The Wicker Man to The Sadness, like how gory is this film? Got both spectrums there. The Color Out of Space, The Lawnmower Man, Deep Red, Fido, The Descent, Fright Night, and Train to Busan are all 4.3s.
That's good company, man.
Yeah, we'll put it on the library shelves and get it ready to be borrowed.
Beautiful. Well, that does it. We studied folk horror with the original The Wicker Man.
Nice.
That concludes this episode of Students of Horror. If you're enjoying the show and want to stay connected with us, follow at Students of Horror on Instagram and Threads. If you want to see Ross's killer tattoo work, follow at Ross Purvis on Instagram. You can follow at Chuddle the Sim and at Birdwitch, Bird with a Y, Witch with an I on Letterboxd if you want to see what we're watching over there. And if you want to hang out with us or be a fellow member of the study group, join our Discord, become part of the community. You can also join the Patreon, as we mentioned earlier, only $3 a month. There's a link to all that gooey goodness in the show description. Next week, we are tackling the subject of viruses. Yuck.
Ew.
And we will be doing so with 2002's Resident Evil. Interesting.
I'm excited.
Until next time, keep your pencils sharpened.